I ignored my destiny once. I cannot do that again. Even for you. I'm the only one who knows that. At least I'm the only one with the will to act on it.
The Mad Titan Podcast with your host, Jay Washington.
What's happening, everybody? I'm back. It is episode 79 of the Mad Titan Podcast with your resident supervillain, Mr. Jay Washington. It has been over a month since I've dropped an episode of this. It has been a while. There is a lot to talk about. I will give you the reasons, as always, for why I've been missing. Of course, minus the news information. There have been news to drop. I will admit that. But I've been going through some personal stuff I've been dealing with. You might see me on Blurs in the Hood having a great time and smiling and energetic and whatnot, but that is a difficult thing to push through for an hour and some change. And so in the midst of that and trying to still audition for small things in different parts when I can throughout this pandemic that has slowed down work for pretty much everybody, it's been a lot. I am currently seeing a therapist once a week now, so the mental taxing I've been through over the past month with a lot, and it really has made me unable to sit here and record these. Of course, I haven't had anybody to really sit down and talk to with these because, people are dealing with things themselves throughout this pandemic, and I know I'm not the only person. I know I'm not the only one who is going through some shit, so I'm not about to act as if, what I'm going through is an isolated incident or the most and biggest, most important thing, because that's the furthest thing from the truth. So I will indeed, I think now I'm coming around the bend. It's the holiday season. I try to be a little bit more in the holiday spirit, but certain incidents, have made me kind of unable to. Granted, I'm doing shit for my kids, like, what a dad's supposed to do. But as far as me being in the spirit for myself, I'm not really in it. I'm about to take down a tree I put up. I put up a tree with lights and everything, and I'm so out of the spirit, I'm about to take that shit down. So, but nonetheless, I wanted to get my spirits up and come here and talk to y'all. Hopefully you missed me. Hopefully you see this notification that you got a new episode and you're like, wow, and you wanted to hurry up and listen to it, because there really is a lot to talk about. There really is. The biggest thing, let's go right into it. If you didn't hear, Disney had their Investor Day 2020 last week on December 11th, and they did some major announcements for Disney, Star Wars, Pixar, but mainly what we're here for and focused on are the Marvel announcements. Now, they gave a lot, and when I tell you, I was losing my mind of what all the stuff they said that is in production, not we want to do this, things that are for sure happening. Again, this wasn't a Comic-Con Hall H panel. Granted, it supplemented it because, of course, we had no Comic-Cons really this year due to the pandemic. And so, a lot of the announcements were more so to their investors to show this is what you need to put money in because we do get a return on these things, but also to get their fans excited about different things, and also with the HBO thing, which we will talk about when I get to my DC news. Let me make sure I put a note there. HBO Max BS. Okay. Bam, there it goes. All right. But let's get into the announcements that came. So first off, with WandaVision, we know officially it will be dropping on January 15th, 2021 on Disney+. The show is going to switch between different sitcom tropes as it progresses. And while the outside world, including Randall Park's Jimmy Woo, Kat Dennings, Darcy Lewis, try to get through to Wanda. Okay, we also are going to see a grown Monica Rambeau, of course, in Tiana Paris. Catherine Hahn is going to play the neighbor, who many people believe is, I keep forgetting the name, but you guys know. We've got official news about Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, which back and forth, those two are supposed to connect together. Now, if we remember those, it was told that WandaVision was going to lead straight into Doctor Strange, into the Multiverse of Madness, which in turn will lead straight into Spider-Man 3. But due to the pandemic and everything switching up at the box office and release dates and, slated release dates, if you will, just say the same thing, some of those things have changed. Well, now Doctor Strange the Multiverse of Madness will drop March 25th, 2022. And here are some of the dope announcements that have come up. That, yes, Elizabeth Olsen will appear in the movie as Wanda Maximoff. I strongly believe still she'll finally be Scarlet Witch by then. Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange, of course, Benedict Wong. Rachel McAdams and Chiwetel Ejiofor are now confirmed to return. Of course, you know, you had to have Chiwetel Ejiofor as Baron Mordo because of what happened at the end of the first Doctor Strange. If you saw the first Doctor Strange at the end, he took away the magic from Benjamin Bratt's character, spoiler alert, because he was like, yo, too many motherfucking magicians out here, and magic shouldn't be had, so he's dealing with that. But also, Xochitl Gomez has been officially confirmed as America Chavez, who is better known as Miss America, and she's the Marvel's premier Latin American and LGBTQ character. Now, for those who may be unfamiliar with Miss America, America Chavez, in addition to flight and super strength, she can travel through dimensions, which comes in handy for a multiverse-based movie. Duh. So, and of course, when it comes to Spider-Man 3, I'm going to talk about that. We got our first full look at the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and I will tell you, this shit has me pumped. And one of the things I love how you hear in the trailer is you hear Anthony Mackie as Sam Wilson say, there's a lot of history with that shield. And so one of the things you got to remember for the plot of this story is a 6 episode, but the plot overall is the government ain't accepting Sam as Captain America because Steve Rogers just handed the shield over. It was not an official transfer of power, if you will. So we will see U.S. agent in this series. So, of course, will they give him the serum and all this other shit? More than likely. But what it looks like and the relationship between Bucky and Sam is going to be one of the big parts of how they work together throughout this. And so I'm dope. I'm good with it. It releases on March 19th, 2021. We got the final trailer for Black Widow, which will drop on May 7th, 2021. Shang-Chi and the Legends of the Ten Rings will drop on July 9th, 2021. And Angelina Jolie in the Eternals, that is going to release November 5th, 2021 in theaters. For theatrical releases. Now, they did not say anything in this investors thing about their theatrical releases going straight to Disney Plus, which is a key thing because, again, I will get fully in depth into it later. But for those who've been under a fucking rock, which you probably haven't in a month, HBO Max was like, Warner Media and HBO Max was like, yo, all our movies are going straight to HBO Max. And of course, there's been so much backlash behind it from not only directors, even from some talent, and of course from fans. You know, many people are still talking about the whole death of theaters, but again, I will get into that later when your boy gets in and all that shit, all right? Because I know there was something I wanted to talk about with Shang-Chi. I think I pulled it. Okay, here it goes. So, for Shang-Chi, now, Shang-Chi must confront the past he thought he left behind when he is drawn into the web of the mysterious Ten Rings organization. That is like what some of the initial synopsis about Shang-Chi is. But here's one of the dope parts about it. I want to let y'all know on the cast in case you missed out, because the cast announcement is fucking phenomenal. So, of course, Simu Liu is Shang-Chi. Tony Leung is Wenwu. Awkwafina plays Katie. Mingir Zhan plays Xialing. Michelle Yeoh is Jing Nan. Ronnie Cheng is in here as John, and Fala Chen is Jiang Li. And Fiora Mutanu, if I'm saying it right, Mutanu, he's playing that classic villain, comic book villain, Razor Fist. So now we know the rounding out of the main cast. You know, we knew a few people, but now we know the rounding out, especially now that principal photography is done. They're about to do any pickups they need to do and all that other extra shit. And again, July 9th, 2021 seems like this when this movie's coming into theaters. Now, I know also, before your boy go any further, a lot of people are going to say, well, that's until they decide to push shit back. I don't think, in this situation now, I don't think we're going to get any more pushback dates. I think anything that was pushed this year that were pushed to new dates, whether it be 20, 21, 22, or 23, now are pretty much a lock if they don't get pushed up, and that's sooner because the vaccine is out here. No matter how you feel about it, whether you're on the side of you gonna take it or you not, there are vaccines available for COVID. that is enough to put a positive spin, if you will, in these studio heads' minds, that people are now more willing to come out. Because again, many people say they wouldn't go anywhere until there was a vaccine. And now there's a vaccine. So, of course, we'll see, as time progresses. We're almost in the turn of the year for January, so we'll see what happens after we pretty much get out of cold and flu season. I think that's the biggest thing to think about, because that's been a thing. Loki, we've got our first official clip of Loki, and that shit looks dope. It's releasing May 2021 on Disney Plus, of course. And if you didn't know, it is set immediately after the God of Mischief, Loki, disappears with the Space Infinity Stone during Avengers Endgame. Now, it's going to be a crime thriller set in the MCU. Now, he's in the custody of Owen Wilson's unnamed character at the Time Variance Authority, or TVA, and where he's being presumably held for crimes against the timeline. Now, if you watch the trailer, if you looked at the clip or whatnot, there's some Easter eggs. And here's one of them. A reference to the Roxxon Energy Corporation. Now, Roxxon has always been a name that has floated throughout the MCU, throughout Marvel, TV shit. I was definitely heavy in the Marvel television universe. Roxxon is how you got Cloak and Dagger's powers. It showed up at the end of It showed up in the episode of Hellstrom, not Marvel's Hellstrom, and shit like that. So there's a few of those things, but also there's a reference to 2016's Vote Loki satirical miniseries they did. And in the final shot of the trailer, Loki appears to be D.B. Cooper. But it's an updated list of the cast that is dropped that is amazing. So you got Sophia DiMartino, who's going to play the female version of Loki, which they said we were getting the female Loki in this series, so it shouldn't be a shock to anything. And Richard E. Grants, he offers an older, more traditional comic take. So again, May 2021, we'll probably start getting more pictures, more behind the scenes photos, more little shots and stills and whatnot, but nothing, that was enough to give during the Disney's investor meeting, the investor day, to pump people up. They're investors primarily. Again, yes, it's to pump up fans. Yes, it is. But normally this is, we're in a new age. So yeah, it's content per se. But yeah, that. We got our first look at What If. And it got the feelings going. That dropped summer 2021. And What If is animated. Now, it's a different thing, but it reimagines some of the classic MCU tales. And Jeffrey Wright is Uatu the Watcher. And so some of the things that it changes some of the things that it will change, are stories like, what if T'Challa became Star-Lord? And yes, the late great Chadwick Boseman will still be voicing T'Challa. This is one of the last projects he did before his untimely passing. We get Peggy Carter gets the super soldier serum instead of Steve Rogers, a zombie Captain America, and so much more. Now, here was some good news that came out for a lot of people. The Miss Marvel news, and Miss Marvel tying into Captain Marvel 2. So, Iman Vellani, they talked about how they searched long and hard through virtual auditions to find their Miss Marvel. Kevin Feige spoke on that, and they got her. We saw some of the dailies, of her living her normal life and whatnot, and it will release in 2021. So it's coming out. Again, it's a Disney Plus series. Now, some of the dope things about this are that it is Middle Easterners. I don't know if I don't want to say Hindu or Indian or things like that. I don't want to be disrespectful, but at the helm of this, it is all people of Middle Eastern descent, if you will. It's helmed by Four Weddings and a Funeral series writer Bishka K. Ali. Episodes directed by the Bad Boys for Life dudes, Bilal Fallah and Adil El Arabi. Farragos Bangs, Mira Minan, documentarian Sharmeen Obid Chinoy. It's so dope. Now, here's the reason I brought up both. So, Miss Marvel will also be in Captain Marvel 2 alongside Brie Larson and Tiana Paris. So again, Tiana Paris' Monica Rambeau goes from WandaVision to Captain Marvel 2 as well. And it will be directed by Nia DaCosta, who has Candyman coming up. So that's so exciting, man. Again, we don't know exactly when in 2021 are we getting it, but I think Marvel next year, Marvel Studios, they're making up for the year that they lost this year. because we were supposed to get Falcon and Winter Soldier. We were supposed to get WandaVision this year. We were supposed to get Black Widow. Things like that. This is the first year in like 19 years, where we had no MCU thing. So that was that. So Hawkeye, it is official that Kate Bishop is being played by Haley Steinfeld. Jeremy Renner is reprising his role as Clint Barton. And there are certain scenes that do show that this is taking place like 2025 or something like that, going into 2025. And it's interesting. So this is pretty much what's going to happen with this, okay? So it's going to explore what Hawkeye did on his days off and was set in Brooklyn as Clint became the de facto protector of an apartment building under siege from local gangsters. And it featured a pizza-loving dog, who's already shown up in the set photos. Now, rounding out the cast of Hawkeye is Fra Free, Vera Farmiga, and newcomer Alaqua Cox as Maya Lopez, a.k.a. Echo. So now, here's a dope thing. The Echo news is another step in inclusion in the MCU. And the character is a deaf Native American, so is Cox. And she'll also join Eternals actor Lauren Ridloff as the second deaf actor in the MCU. Hawkeye's going to be directed by John Laney and the Sack Lunch Bunches, Rice Thomas, and Troop Zero duo Bert and Birdie, which means the Fraction's comedic stylings will hopefully translate to the final project. I do want to go back real quick. So I got to pull up the whole, I forgot to pull it up. Let me pull up the controversy, Miss Marvel controversy. So there's been some controversy about some of the castings that have happened with Miss Marvel. So there was a hashtag Fix Miss Marvel, okay? This is some due to the Marvel's controversial casting rumors, okay? So here is what, let me see, make sure I got it on me. So we got so we got Iman Vellani is Kamala Khan, aka Miss Marvel. So a fan dedicated page, Miss Marvel on Twitter with the handle Miss Marvel News, correlated that some of the rumored casting choices for this project are deemed problematic. So this includes Andrew Bador, who supposedly has multiple gender discrimination charges against him, as well as Matt Lentz, who's rumored to play Bruno Corelli for being a Trump supporter. And finally, the hiring of Yasmin Fletcher and Zenobia Shurov being hired to play Muslim characters when they're not in real life. All right, so I understand the diversity level of it. You want these characters to be you want these characters to be of the same descent and orientation. I'm all for that. I'm 100% behind that. So here's the deal. So Yasmin being a half-white Christian girl, they said it's inappropriate as her being Nakia Badir, and Zenobia Shurov, who is a non-Muslim Indian, apparently cast as Kamala's Pakistani Muslim mother. Now, when we go into I think that Marvel was possibly looking at this as their Middle Eastern. I don't know if they went so far saying, probably that we didn't need direct from the country, the region. But again, none of these casting choices had officially been announced. So that's the thing. But as far as Matt Lentz being a Trump supporter, here's the unfortunate problem that I think a lot of people got to suck up. And it's just, some people are not going to agree with this shit. And some people are going to. And as y'all already know, if you've listened to Mad Titan before, shit, it is what it is. All right. At the end of the day, I know that we deem Trump supporters to be ridiculous, deplorable, hideous, vile humans. Just despicable. I understand that. I really, really do. I understand that we see Trump supporters and we're like, yo, you stood alongside the racism, sexism, homophobia, bigotry, and all this. And then there's those Trump supporters, primarily white ones, who will be like, well, they're black Trump supporters, they're Latin Trump supporters, there's gay Trump supporters. And again, coons come in all shape, form, and sizes. So not just black people. Now, when it comes to firing somebody because of who they voted for, that is something we cannot do. Until and look, a lot of people gonna say, a lot of people gonna have some feelings about this. I know y'all will. Again, I know my fan base. I know people who rock with me. I know and I understand where y'all coming from. I do. But you gotta remember, until they do something directly that offends and demeans people in an egregious manner, you cannot take their job away from them, because you actually cause more problems than good. Everybody that's been shown to be a Trump supporter, that's done dumb shit and said stupid shit on Facebook, Twitter, that has lost their job, let's be real. They've lost the job you knew about. They more than likely got another job already that accepted them with open arms. There's a big ass difference. It's a big ass difference. Again, I don't want people to think that I'm passive on this. Again, the Gina Carano situation in The Mandalorian. Everybody like they want her fired. Look, if she says what she says on her social media, that's one thing. And I know, especially what we just recently did on Blurs with the attack on black trans women and the attacks within the trans community, but more so, I don't even know if it was disparaging remarks, because I didn't read much. I just know about the pronoun controversy with Gina Carano. What she put in and how it was just the blatancy behind that. Again, people are still going to watch the product, whether you don't like an actor or an actress or whatnot. It's just unfortunate, but it is what it is. And like I said earlier, we got to be real. We got to keep it a buck. You cannot, we get caught in feelings. And, some people say, well, if it was this and the difference, I'm looking at it from every level, every spectrum. Who somebody voted for, you can say you don't want to support that person. You can even say you don't want to support the project they're a part of. That's fine. But to sit there and say a person can potentially lose their jobs, and again, this is all rumored. These are all rumored casting announcements. So nothing, if I'm not mistaken, has been officially confirmed. So let's just make sure that nothing has been officially confirmed. But when you start saying a person can't have a job because of who they voted for, that you run the risk of issues all across the board. You run the risk of not, because it's not just one-sided, because then you can have people on the other side say, well, they voted for Biden, they voted for AOC, they voted for any Democratic candidate and not hire them. And so you see what I'm saying? That's where it becomes an issue, because if it's what's good for the goose is good for the gander. You really got to be honest with yourselves, y'all. I get it personally. I get it. I've stopped fucking with people because they're Trump supporters, because the people I've seen speak and the way I've seen them speak on shit, not just the fact that I know they voted for dude. That's one thing. If you just voted for dude and shut your fucking mouth, it's nothing. But people that voted for dude and have been openly vocal about all the other bullshit, that's when I have a problem with you, because again, you're impinging on my rights and my right to live, a friend of mine's right to live, a cousin, a sister, an aunt, a family member's right to live, because of the things and the rhetoric that have been spewed. When you start vocally backing that shit up, you know what I'm saying? There's a difference. I know people who voted for Trump and have stayed dead ass silent. Granted, it's been difficult for a lot of motherfuckers to do in this time. I get it. Trust me, I get it. But it's all about when we look at what the bigger picture is. Because again, if you do it on one side, you got to fuck around and do it on the other. And then that's when the problem comes in. That's where it becomes a problem. Because again, it's only fair. Let's keep it a buck again. It's only fair if you do it on both sides. You all already know I'm just going to keep shit A100 with y'all. Some people ain't going to like to hear it. Some people ain't going to, accept it. But it is what it is. Let's go into more of these news. She-Hulk. So it's official now that Tatiana Maslany will be Jennifer Walters' She-Hulk. Okay, this was weird, because it was like, wait, are you? Because she came out and said she was in it, And then I was like, I don't get it. But now she's official. So, okay, that's done. We also know that Mark Ruffalo is going to appear as the Hulk. But the best part for me was the announcement that Tim Roth's Abomination is going to return. And we haven't seen his Abomination since the Incredible Hulk movie back in 2008. Now, I want to see that. I am also for, what the fuck is his name? Give me a sec. I got to find his name out. Tim Blake Nelson. That's it. I'm excited. I'm hoping that somehow, some way, we can get Tim Blake Nelson back as the leader. Because remember, that was an open-ended story that never closed up. You know, after we had the shortage of the system, and then the gamma blood pours down on his skull, and the skull begins to enlarge, and he smiles, and that was it. And everybody's like, yo, we know that's the leader. We know Samuel Stearns is the leader. And so now we saw it happening. It just, you want to know if it's actually coming to fruition. But that's a whole nother story. Moon Knight, we already know that Oscar Isaac will be playing Moon Knight. But the crazy part is Feige didn't confirm it. So it's been all but confirmed, basically, that Oscar Isaac is Moon Knight. And of course there was some controversy about that because of Mark Spector being Jewish, and a part of his heritage is within that character. But it has all been but confirmed. Like, you know, it's like, yo, it's official, blah blah blah. But Kevin Feige didn't say it during the investor meeting. So again, we have to wait and see. Like, there's some things that were confirmed, of course, and things we've heard. But if Kevin Feige didn't confirm it during the Disney Investor Day, again, this is not Comic-Con. This is not the Hall H panel where, you know, you drop news and shit like that. This is to get people to invest their money. These giant banks and corporations who invest into another corporation to get a return on their investment. So that's what this is, y'all. Y'all got to remember that, all right? Secret Invasion is happening. Nick Fury will be returning. Samuel L. Jackson playing Nick Fury, and Ben Mendelsohn as Talos. So this is going to be a Marvel Studios original series. So with Secret Invasion happening, the question beckons for me, will we ever get to Secret Wars? Because of things like that. Now, so what this is they're going to hunt down Nick Fury and Talos are going to hunt down shape-shifting Skrulls who have infiltrated all parts of Earth. And this is going to be... It's going to be a buddy cop more so than anything. So it's going to be a buddy cop. But I wonder, are they going to be the Super Skrulls? Because that's a difference. Now, when we go into that, you know, again, Secret Invasion, Secret Wars, blah, blah, blah. We'll see what happens with that. But the biggest news for me, there's a couple other stories. And I think the biggest one that came out for me that made me officially excited is that Disney Plus is getting an Ironheart series. And it's not just in development. It's not just potential. It is official because Dominique Thorne will be starring and playing Riri Williams. That is so fucking amazing on so many levels, because we talked about this character, we talk about diversity, we talk about representation, and to have a female genius who rivals Tony Stark, if not passes her up, you know, it's so dope. Now also, this opens up the possibility to getting a cameo from Robert Downey Jr. Here's why. Now, she's 15 years old and she attends MIT, but she makes an Iron Man-like suit. Now, in the comics, she found a decommissioned suit. Now, it draws the attention of Tony Stark, who gives her his blessing to become a superhero under the name Ironheart. So, this is going to be interesting because, again, we're going to do is she going to find the old suit? And how does she find the old suit is the question, which I think I know the answer to that. Iron Man 3. I'm going to let that sit for a second for people to try to understand what I mean when I say Iron Man 3. Remember when the House Party Protocol, when he had all the suits released from the house to help him fight the Mandarin and all those goons? Remember that? The House Party Protocol all the suits blew up. Even suits that look like Tony's regular suit. So all of the Marvel suits blew up. All of these things happened. Now, they're all going to be in a junkyard somewhere, and somehow refines it, refashions it, formats it and everything, and in the process opens it to where it unlocks Tony Stark talking. Because again, even in death, I'm the hero. Even dead, I'm the hero. Now, he doesn't have to be a major part of this, but again, he's giving her his blessing. So that's where that can come in. I think that might be the way they go. Y'all can quote me on it if it does happen. If it does happen. Of course, again, this is me talking about myself for a while before I can start getting people who want to come back on and, mentally can do it, and we good. We're getting the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special, which is so dope. They're going to shoot that while shooting Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Also, we're getting Armor Wars. Now, Don Cheadle is going to be reprising his role. He's going to headline it as James Rhodes. And so also with that, we could potentially see Riri Williams in that as well. Again, remember the MCU Marvel Studios, the MCU Disney Plus shows connect directly into the larger MCU timeline. Now, this could also give us Justin Hammer again. He is in jail, but Armor Wars could be something like that. It also could give us Ezekiel Stane, the son of Obadiah Stane, who's played by Jeff Bridges in Iron Man 1. All of these things are a possibility. Now, and the reason, so this is a storyline from David Michelini and Bob Layton, and it ran for like 7 issues in the late 80s, and it was basically about Tony Stark's worst fear. What happens when the Iron Man tech falls into the wrong hands? Again, we basically saw that in Iron Man 2, but now you develop a series about it. Again, you got the House Party Protocol from Iron Man 3. Again, all those suits that were destroyed in that shipping yard, they have to be junked. They're not just going to be completely scrapped. They just probably scooped it up, threw it away, and that was it. And so now that tech is out there. That's a big thing. Also, we're getting an I Am Groot series, which I'm like, okay, cool. I'm here for Groot. So, also, the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special will release during the 2022 holiday season. Of course, it also announced that it was a reminder that we are getting Blade starring Mahershala Ali. So that is a thing happening. One of the big news stories also in the world of theatrical releases was Thor: Love and Thunder, and it was officially confirmed that not only is Christian Bale in the movie, that he will be playing the villain of Gore the God Butcher. Now, shouts out to one of the listeners. I'm trying to remember what that email was a while back, who asked me, what if Bale was playing Gore the God Butcher? And low key, it's, okay, matter of fact, I wrote this question in January 7th. So listen, D. Ashley did this. D. Ashley 2003 sent this back on January 7th. 2020, said, do you think Christian Bale will play Gore the God Butcher? I know some folks think he could be Beta Ray Bill, which is possible, but to see Christian Bale go dark and in Thor movies with Gore the Butcher story would be a great ending with sacrifice, time travel, and love. Like, again, said it back then. This is shouts out to the fans of the Mad Titan podcast. Again, everybody was thinking he was going to be Beta Ray Bill. I cannot deny that. People were like, yo, he gonna be Beta Ray Bill, and now they've officially announced he was Gore the God Butcher, and I can say, yo, one of my fans dead ass called it, and we talked about it here beginning 2020 on fucking Mad Titan podcast. Man, that's just beautiful to hear, read, and see when it all comes together. I just wanted to say that. I just needed to say that. Again, May 6, 2022 is when this movie will come out. So again, look for that date to stay consistent. Also, we're getting Jane Foster's Lady Thor, but she will be dealing with cancer after the effects of having the ether in her. So I think her becoming the God of Thunder for the time period will try to help hold her off or something. We don't know fully how it's going. Also, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. That is the third installment in the Ant-Man film. So, of course, Paul Rudd, Evangeline Lilly, Michael Douglas, and Michelle Pfeiffer all return. And Catherine Newton joins the cast as Cassie Lang. She's replacing the damn it, I just saw it. I fucking, I pull some of these things and then I don't pull them all. And then people are like, yo, didn't you have all this? And I'm like, I did, but I scroll through things and so it happens and my bad. Like, oops. So Emma Furman she played Cassie Lang in Avengers Endgame. She's been replaced now by Catherine Newton. So that's a crazy thing. But also Jonathan Majors is Kang the Conqueror. So in comic book history, for those who don't know, Kang is actually Nathaniel Richards, a descendant of Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic, which I'll go into later. He fights the Avengers, and he's a time traveler who'll probably have a bone to pick with Scott's use of the quantum realm in Avengers Endgame because, again, the time travel element. I can get that. My whole issue, and I think I've said this on here and probably on Blurs, is I don't want for Kang to be eliminated just quick, and I don't want him to be, he's not cosmic per se, but cosmic, quantum, multiverse, I kind of generalize them the same when it comes to villains. I kind of generalize them the same, and I feel like we don't need another one right after Thanos. That's why another announcement that comes up later will help. But again, Kang is Nathaniel Richards, a descendant of Reed Richards, aka Mr. Fantastic. We will go on to talk about that. What are you asking? My son is texting me, and I know he texted me for money, and he hoping I don't cuss him out in the process. He really is. I know he is. Black Panther 2. Now, Kevin Feige took the time to acknowledge the tragic passing of Chadwick Boseman and announced that Ryan Coogler will write and direct the sequel, and they will not recast T'Challa out of respect for Boseman. And instead, Black Panther 2 will pay tribute to the actor and leverage other characters that have appeared in the initial film. So we might see Shuri take up the mantle as she did in the comics, somebody else. But the film releases July 8th, 2022. I had to bring this up because there was a lot of discourse, if you will, about this decision. So, of course, there were people like, yo, they should just go ahead and recast T'Challa. Yeah, it's sad, but T'Challa's legacy got to live on. And then some people's like, no, there are other people who've taken up the mantle of Black Panther. Black Panther is not just one character, which is very true. So, here's the thing. And this is somebody who works in Hollywood, who talks to a lot of people who are major names, who friends with people like that. Do you not realize no one wanted to take that legacy? I think people got to understand that. No one wanted that because, again, no matter what they did, they will always be compared to Chadwick, and they didn't want to be compared to Chadwick. It didn't matter how good they were. You could have somebody cast in the role and they blow it out the water. But people are still going to reference Chadwick, and that shows how much respect he has still in the acting community. Yes, there are times where people are willing to jump into a character role. Somebody willing to jump into a James Bond or jump something like that. But let's just, there's certain characters people don't want to jump into. People don't want to take that. And again, let's say, for instance, Chadwick had not passed and he decided on his own to step away from the role, then maybe somebody be like, yo, well, I'll take it up. You know what I'm saying? It's a whole different ball game now. They're taking it up under a different pretense, if you will. But I understand why people aren't taking it up. I do. And so everybody thinks, oh man, so let me say something too about this. I've seen some black dudes primarily say the most misogynistic and bullshit and just punk ass shit they could have said about this. Oh, well, let's see what happens when they put cute little Shuri on the suit and the little movie fails. First of all, fam, that's fucked up to think. Secondly, I don't give a shit. Then somebody's like, well, it was only for a small run in the comics anyway. They don't need to do this. A lot of shit was a small run. Okay, first of all. But also, I trust Marvel Studios. Has every single film that the MCU has had been a complete success? Absolutely not. Have they been failures for just stupid reasons? Some stories just aren't meant to be told. Sometimes some stories can't be told by the right directors, because that is also a thing. Just because you have a script, the directors have to bring that script to life. So that takes precedent. But also, you got the same writer and director of the original film coming back. Again, I'm with this. You give it to Shuri, give it to Shuri. Give it to Shuri. It's in the comics. People were like, "Oh, bring back Killmonger." No, he could be dead, or he shows up in the ancestral plane, which I still believe happens no matter what. I still believe you get Killmonger in the ancestral plane, which means Shuri has to see him now, which makes it even more. That adds an extra element to it. That adds an element behind that. I really hate people saying stupid shit. I really do. Am I guaranteed? Are we guaranteed this movie's gonna make the money? Then one dude was like, "Yo, they owe it to the people that spent $1 billion to do this." No. You just want to say that. Don't do that. They owe it to the people. Shit, it's for you, not them. Don't do that. Don't do that. Again, it took the company that made this movie, Marvel Studios, to make the tough decision as well, with also speaking with the writer and director to decide if they wanted to recast it. Again, their decision, not anybody else's. Not NAM fan, not NAM blogger, NAM critic, NAM actor. It is Marvel Studios and Ryan Coogler's, Marvel Studios, Kevin Feige, Louis D'Espirito, Ryan Coogler and the rest. It's their decision whether they choose to recast or not. And they have chosen to not recast. So guess what? You have no choice but to just not like the decision and move on. Because it is what it is. Nothing's going to change. You can be mad, you can be pissed off, but 9 times out of 10, you're still going to take your ass to see the movie. Now, if you go in looking for it to fail in your eyes and looking for it to not be good in your eyes because now all of a sudden there isn't a T'Challa, that's your fucking fault. That's no one else's fault. That's your fault. You deal with that shit. Again, they were put in a position where no matter what they decided, when it came to the role of T'Challa, no matter what, it was not going to appease everybody. That's just the way shit is. That's just being straight up and honest. This shit wasn't going to appease everybody. No matter if they put somebody else in the role, people were going to complain. Because why? That's what motherfuckers do nowadays. Complain about any and every little thing. And so even though they didn't, guess what happened? Motherfuckers still complained. People will complain. So Disney was like, fuck it. We gonna do what we feel is best, what we feel honors him the best way, the way that we can maintain the legacy that we feel like we established, and we will not recast this role. Plain and simple. If y'all don't like it, guess what you can do? You can make your own Black Panther movie. I mean, I hate to sound like that, but shit is real. Shit is real. And it just gotta be told like this sometimes. It just gotta be told. A lot of people don't want to fucking hear it, but you gotta hear it. And guess what? Goddammit, you'll hear it from me. And in the last bit of news, the most shocking news that I think came is that yes, we officially are getting Marvel's first family, the Fantastic Four movie. And it will be directed by Spider-Man Homecoming and Spider-Man Far From Home director John Watts. Now, this lets me know, that because remember, Spider-Man Homecoming and Spider-Man Far From Home are Sony movies. They are not Marvel Studios. They are in conjunction with Marvel Studios, but they are Sony films, which means Marvel was like, let's bring him over, and they trust him, and even trust him when it comes to Spider-Man 3, which I'll talk about in a second. But no release date has been announced, no casting. I'm happy for this for several reasons. I've been one of those people, as like many have, who believe we already have our Mr. Fantastic and Invisible Woman in John Krasinski and Emily Blunt. I believe that fully. I believe I should be cast as Ben Grimm. I'm just going to say it. I'm not looking at nobody else. I know there's a bunch of other motherfuckers out here who can do it, and they probably would do because they're a bigger name, but I would like to start my own petition for me to be Ben Grimm. Granted, 9 times out of 10, online petitions never work to get a character to get a person booked as a character, but God damn it, if I had to try, I would try that. So also that, and more specifically, we will finally get a respectable, fully respectable version of Doom. And I say fully respectable because Julian McMahon as Victor Von Doom in the first Fantastic Four was okay until the shit happened on the ship and they gave him abilities to be electromagnetic. And that's when you killed it. Yes, the suit looked great with the tunic and everything somewhat, but no, I want Doom. And I'm not going to get on Fan Force Stick. Excuse me, I choked even saying that. I'm not going to get on Fan Force Stick because that shit in itself was a disgrace. And I don't care how many times Josh Trank says it wasn't his movie. At the end of the day, that fucking Doom is still a problem. The Dr. Doom is still a problem. So I believe we'll get a better, finally a real accurate representation of Victor Von Doom in this, which also can mean that Victor Von Doom and maybe even Kang, but more so Victor Von Doom, can be the big bad for phase 4 and 5 of the MCU. Yes, Victor Von Doom has done that in the comics. He has taken on the entire Marvel universe and is badass enough to do so. So that is a thing that can happen. Let's just keep it a buck. Let's just keep it a buck, all right? So I think that's all for the announcements. The announcements were all dope, and of course, again, I love it. So let's go to some other things about some of the stuff that was announced. Again, in Thor: Love and Thunder, we did get the announcement that Christian Bale is Gore the God Butcher. But Tessa Thompson has yet to head down under, but this is what she said. This is what she said. I traveled to Australia at the top of the year and then I'm quarantined. Thankfully, we can shoot because Australia is under control. And their administration has been able to figure out a way to keep everyone safe so we can safely make the film. We'll make it this year. And Natalie Portman, who is a good friend of mine, has been there for a couple of months. Taika's there. Everyone's working and really excited. Now, of course, remember at the end of Avengers Endgame, she is the new ruler, the new king of Asgard. Not the queen, she's the king. And Thor took off with the Guardians, which has also been reported that the Guardians will show up in Thor: Love and Thunder. But this is what she said this is what Thompson says going further. She says, I can tease that she's definitely the king of New Asgard when we find her. And as was the case in the last 4, I would say that she's part of an adventure that involved Thor in the sense that it's called Thor: Love and Thunder. Now, I'd say there's some cool stuff going on. We have some new characters, and we have some folks potentially from other pockets of the MCU. The Guardians, of course, other faces. But also, again, when we say Thor, Jane Foster becomes Lady Thor. So that's a thing about that also. So, I'm interested and I'm excited for that. Again, Taika Waititi at the helm. You really can't get me kind of like shook about it, if you will. You really can't get me shook about it. I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, and I probably did just say it, but that Kang the Conqueror is set to make an appearance also in Loki. So that's some shit that's set to happen also. All right. So I got those news. I got that. Now let's go into Spider-Man 3. So it is official that Jamie Foxx will be back as Electro. Alfred Molina will return as Doc Ock. Now, the rumors are that Tobey Maguire is set to appear in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Sam Raimi's directed that. Sam Raimi directed the Spider-Man trilogy he was a part of. There's rumors that now Dane DeHaan, Emma Stone, Kirsten Dunst, all these people are going to reprise their roles in this film. Now, here's the number one thing people got to understand. This shit is going to be cameos. It is going to be cameos. The only one that may not be a cameo, the only 2 more so that may not be a cameo, could be Jamie Foxx's Electro and Alfred Molina's Doc Ock. Now, I know a lot of people are saying, well, wait a minute. Didn't Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man Didn't Doc Ock die? Yes, but also again we're talking multiverses. So Doc Ock and Peter Parker could be battling each other in multiple universes. So the shit ain't guaranteed to be in just that one universe. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta open your eyes and think about all the possibilities with this. But when I bring up just, Melina and Fox, I say that because I've tweeted this. I believe this is how we will finally get the Sinister Six, through a culmination of multiverse villains. Meaning, you've already got the Vulture and Adrian Toomes, Michael Keaton in prison. He is locked up with the Scorpion, which also has the Shocker, right? Somehow, some way, Mysterio is not dead. And then coming through a portal, you have Electro, who will be, Jamie Foxx has already said, he will not be Blue Electro, which lets you know this is Electro from another universe. He will be in yellow and green Electro. You get what I'm saying? Which means Alfred Molina as Doc Ock, what we saw in Spider-Man 2, may look more comic book accurate come this movie. And that's just Sinister Six. Now, a lot of people believe in that, that happens, and the only way that Tom Holland Spider-Man can beat them is with the help of the other two Spider-Mans. But I have to remind y'all some shit real quick. You want to know what that is? If Tom Holland needs help, he's not going to look to the other two Spider-Men first. You know why? He's an Avenger. He's an Avenger. He's got the Avengers at his call, just as all the other Avengers have. He's a fucking Avenger. So you might see them battling, or I'm really doubting that you see them, or you might see them collectively together. You might. I'm not debating that you won't. But I mean, it kind of, it's weird because he's an Avenger now. He can call the Avengers. It would kind of defeat the purpose to the only way you can defeat them are with other two Spider-Men. Now, the bond of Spider-Man being bitten by a radioactive spider, if you see different versions of Peter Parker, I can see that. Absolutely. But nonetheless, no matter how many people we get in this from all these other films, please don't think they all gonna be in the movie together just all the same time like some giant ass in-game scene. It's gonna be portals opening up. And like I've said before, remember the plot of Spider-Man 3 as a whole is now Peter is trying to prove he is not Spider-Man, right? He is trying to prove he's not Spider-Man after the events of Far From Home, when Mysterio says Spider-Man tried to kill him or is killing him, some shit like that. So now he has to prove he's not that. So what more than likely will happen is you're gonna have situations happening, right? You're gonna have people constantly following Peter Parker like paparazzi. Of course, we live in a day and age where everybody recording shit on cell phones. So you're gonna have people following Peter Parker around. Some shit's gonna really go down that needs Spider-Man, and he's gonna try to run off to change, but he can't because people are following him. So some shit will go wrong in the city, and people are like, well, where's Spider-Man? Where's Spider-Man? Then portals start opening up. While portals start opening up, people will see Spider-Man fighting Doc Ock, Spider-Man fighting Electro, and in the process of Spider-Man whooping each one of their respective asses, those villains get knocked through the portal closes. Now, people in different places have seen Spider-Man, but at the same time, they've seen Peter Parker standing right there, so they put two and two together that Peter Parker cannot be Spider-Man because they just watched Spider-Man fighting while looking dead at Peter Parker in the face. Sounds about right for a plan for, it sounds about right as a plan for fucking Spider-Man 3. Again, do I know this is exactly the way the story will go? Nope. But based off the information I know that we've been given, I sound like that. I mean, it sounds like it could be a good bet and a guess. And also, I've had some things that you didn't know if I knew it or not, and some of them, majority of them, have proven to be right. As he sips his pre-workout. So I just want to say that and make sure we got that clear. Again, you can quote me on it. You can do whatever you want. That's my belief on it. Also, I forgot to say with Thor Love and Thunder, Natalie Portman recently went on Jimmy Kimmel to tell that she is training for Thor Love and Thunder to look like an action figure. Look, here's the dope thing about being a part of the MCU. They're going to ensure that you look like the superhero you need to look like, right? Especially if you have to be a hero. If you're going to be one of the regular people, you know what I'm saying, occasional character, you can work out. You want to work out, get in shape, yes. But when it comes to a certain shape they need you to have, Kumail Nanjiani, Chris Pratt, all them. Look, that's why I want Marvel to hire me. Hire me so I know that all of a sudden I got a nutritionist up my ass, possibly a chef, and a trainer beating my ass every day to ensure that I look like this rock monster more than I'm beating myself up for every single day. Like I said, as soon as I'm done with this, I'm going to work out for an hour or so. I got to do 2 back-to-back Focus T25 workouts. Then I got to record a one-on-one with a supervillain. But that's a whole nother thing. But I want to have that focus, and that focus comes on people you're getting paid millions of dollars to look like this. So that's that. But that's all the Marvel news, which I knew was going to be the majority of the show I got for the day. Going into my DC news real quick. I haven't talked about it on here. HBO Max and Warner Brothers, like I said, they announced their entire movie slate for 2021 will go to HBO Max, and it begins with Wonder Woman, which will debut on Christmas next week on the platform. And what it will do, it will stream for 31 days on HBO Max. Now, a lot of the directors, a lot of the actors, some are upset about it because, of course, many can bring up the theater experience, the cinema experience. And like I've said before on Blurs, I've said it tweeting, I will say it up and down nonstop. There is a small percentage of movie-going audiences that identify as cinephiles. It is not just cinephiles who go to the theater. Some people go. Some people just don't care. There are a lot of people who just don't care. Either way it goes, I get to see it. There are a lot of people who are like, I can watch Wonder Woman 84 in the privacy of my own home, pause it if I got to go to the bathroom, eat what I want to eat for free, be as comfortable as I want to be. And then people say, oh, this is going to kill theaters. No, it's not. It may kill the name of the company that owns the building, but it will not kill theaters. Y'all got to stop that shit too. And I'm not saying all my listeners are. Y'all know I'm not saying. I say y'all people generally who do that shit. This is not going to kill theaters. This is going to destroy cinema. Stop that shit. Stop it. Those buildings aren't going no fucking where. Guess what'll happen? AMC or Regal might not be on the name, but another company's name will be. Those buildings aren't going nowhere. You're not finna sit here and turn those buildings with 16 screens. What are you gonna turn them into? Mini malls already? On top of more mini malls? Possibly, but no. No. Or you gonna just try to tear them all down? No. Again, somebody else will acquire a chain of them. Amazon fuck around and buy them. Let's just be real. Netflix fuck around and buy them. Disney fuck around and buy them. They're not going nowhere. Y'all got to stop that. They're not going nowhere. No time soon. Again, I understand there are people who love to see things in the theater. And some people go, well, Jay, what if you couldn't have saw Avengers Infinity War or Endgame in the theaters? Yes, it was dope seeing it in the theater. It was dope, but here's the thing too. I saw it during the press screening, which was a theater screen, but also they have some that's smaller, some with smaller crowds. Some have the big groups because they bring in the mommy bloggers and stuff. So yeah, these different things apply. But I can still, again, there's a level of comfort. Yeah, the experience is one thing, but comfort is another. And you're also talking during the pandemic. Now, again, I do admit that, yeah, Warner Media was wrong for just jumping to say this shit without talking to their other producing partners and things like that. Because what that does, again, this is a money thing for a lot of them, going back to the whole theatrical experience. There's also money. Producers and directors in their contracts have a thing where if the movie makes a certain amount with its profit, they get back-end points. You can't tally up back-end points with streaming. And also, you're not going to make the same amount of money with the combination of streaming and theatrical release. It's just not going to happen. Look, Christopher Nolan tried to tell the world consistently, up and down, back and forth, oh, if you release Tenet in theaters, everybody's going to go to the theater. Everybody's going to go see Tenet. Tenet made $360 million worldwide. in theaters worldwide. Even when theaters were open, everybody was not running to go to theaters to see it. And that's the thing people gotta remember, was not running to go see it. So people were skeptical with the virus. And again, the vaccine changes things, yes, but there's still some people who are not like, I want to go see it. That's just not happening. It's just not happening right now. Just wanted y'all to know, it's just not happening. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Let's just be real. All right? Moving on. Margot Robbie has said that there are no plans currently for a Birds of Prey sequel. Now, to some people that may be bad news, to some that's good news, to some people are just indifferent. I think the reason being is because Harley Quinn is involved in so many other things. She will be in the Suicide Squad. We don't know what goes on after that. And also maybe Margot Robbie probably is just like, yo, after this, she may be done. You never know. Granted, would I like to see Journey Smollett more as Black Canary? Absolutely. Am I cool with seeing Mary Elizabeth Winstead as the Huntress? Yep, no problem. Ella Bosco, it's Cassandra Cain. It's not the comics, but I've learned sometimes you can change shit and it works. And you give me Rosie Perez any day of the week, I'm happy. Rosie Perez can't do wrong by me. I'm just gonna fucking say it, okay? She just don't do wrong by me. So whether y'all like that or not, I don't know what to tell you. But Rosie Perez don't do wrong. But again, there are different things that happen. There are different things that make a sequel not go the way you want it to. Some people want it. Like, there's some people who just like, yeah, we need the sequel. But then there's some people who are like, nah, we good. Things change things consistently. Just want y'all to know that, okay? Also, Dwayne Johnson has teased his training regimen, which clearly don't look any fucking different. And so he went to Instagram, right? He said, I'm training for Black Adam. Shouts out to my longtime strength and conditioning coach, Dave Rienzi, for the ever-evolving strategic roadmap to success for this film and the character. Month by month, week by week, day by day, he added 277 pounds of mean and nasty. And he reiterated that production does kick off spring 2021. And with most of the cast assembled, it's not going to be too long before we get more plot details and official details from Warner Brothers. And there are still a few key roles to cast. There are a few key roles to cast. So, and look, with Hollywood pretty much back to normal thanks to safety measures studios are putting in place, it's not going to be any more future delays. That's another thing too. Yes, some productions may get halted for a week or two because there's a COVID test positive and you want to make sure everybody's cleared out with that. Absolutely. Absolutely. But again, have somebody who was just on a major movie set beginning of November and seeing the way they're doing shit to ensure the safety of everyone, not just the cast or the stars. It's absolutely. All right. I just want to make sure I put that out there. Okay. So that, I think, pretty much wraps up all the news that I have from Marvel and DC this week. Let me go to the calls and emails that I have for the Mad Titan Podcast hotline first. 818-276-6947. 818-276-6947. I'm going to go to the first call I got right now. All right. I tried to have a call, but I cannot hear that call at all. Again, one of the things I constantly keep telling people, you have to make sure that I can hear you. Because if I can't hear you clearly, then I can't play your call because I'm not going to be able to hear it because the people won't be able to hear your call. So I'm sorry about that. I wanted to play your call. I wanted to play your message and I wanted to be able to answer your question, but I couldn't because I could not hear it at all. So let me go to some of these emails I got. And so, shouts out to the homie JL Phillips the second. His email subject is he tripping. And here's the question. Here's the email. Excuse me. He said, "What up, Jay? I was sitting here and I was reading about the next Spider-Man movie, and I was reading along, thinking to myself, this is about to be dope, or one big clusterfuck of a movie. Then I was reading, and I said that it even said Toby wanted $15 million to come back and play as Spider-Man. What the fuck is wrong with that boy? Do he not remember that he made us sit through Spider-Man 3? I hope everything is good your way, pimpin'. Oh shit, I just remembered. I know you seen we getting Riri Williams. I'm hyped. My bad, Tiger got out of the cage for a second, but I hope you have a good one, pimpin', and keep your head up. JL Phillips II. Well, first of all, appreciate you. Yeah, I talked about the Riri Williams thing. Look, I don't think there's any consideration of the third Spider-Man movie. No actor cares about how critically or audience received a film is, especially when the studio comes calling you back potentially. Now, I haven't read that anywhere about Toby wanting $15 million to come back. Okay, but let's say he do. Right? This is Marvel Studios. This is Disney. They can have it and they can get it. But again, we've seen them pay a lot of money for smaller roles. And it's not going to be a big role, but if it is essential to the movie and they need it, yeah. I mean, yeah, you could just have somebody come in a suit and go from there, but who knows? But nonetheless, I mean, again, I don't think it's going to be a clusterfuck as much as everybody's saying, because there's so many people. And of course, there are people who keep bringing up, there's not a good track record with sequels to Spider-Man, third Spider-Man. Well, there's only been one Spider-Man 3, and after Amazing Spider-Man 2, they didn't even go to the next one. That was dead in the water. So I brought up earlier what I believe is going to happen and how you are going to manage all of these cameos and different appearances and whatnot. So I don't think it's going to be something where you're like, fuck, all these people on one screen? Nah, again, we're talking about a movie based with multiverses. So we already know why we will see different people. We already know why. So it's a matter of making them all fit, strategically putting them in place. And again, I trust John Watts. I trust the writers of the Spider-Man films. So I don't think we'll get anything bad. But I appreciate your email, broski. Let me see. Do I got another one? All right. So the next email comes from Joshua Alicia, and its subject is, a hero is only as good as their villain. Says, hey Jay, I hope this email finds you well and you're in good spirits. My question is, this week is based off of a convo I had with my wife while we were watching Spider-Man Homecoming. I told her one of the reasons I liked it was Michael Keaton was playing Vulture, and now he's a more ground level villain I can relate to. I can identify with just wanting to be able to work and make a living, and having something say no, and having limited options. This goes to why I felt Marvel has hit a stride with their films lately, because they've really tried to add a layer of depth and understanding to their villains, like Killmonger and Thanos. My question for you is this: what villain, DC or Marvel, would you like to see done for the big or small screen? Black Widow is using Taskmaster, who's one of my favorites, so I'm excited to see their take on him. What about you? Again, it's plain and simple, gonna be Doom. Dr. Doom. I want to see how they do it. Again, you brought it up perfectly. The layers of depth. To see the layers of depth and to understand that Victor Von Doom is a villain that is integrated with both magic and technology on a genius level. His email concluded, all the best, Josh Alicia. My apologies. But yeah, Doom. Victor Von Doom. That's why the Fantastic Four is so exciting for me to hear. And there's another one again, Magneto. Because I will continually say this, by time this movie even goes into production, in the MCU timeline, we are talking 2026, 2027 in the MCU timeline, let alone what the real time is. And again, I know people saying, well, the Holocaust is an important thing in his character. Yes, it very much is, for the time in which it was, which is why it was able to be utilized so long. Again, the prequel series, if you will, of the X-Men movies from Days of Future Past, X-Men First Class, and then Days of Future Past, then X-Men Ivan Ooze, and then X-Men Jennifer Lawrence Don't Want to Be Here No More. These were all, set during decades, which allowed Magneto to be of the age, and it didn't take away from the character. Because of when the Holocaust was. Again, Magneto was like 8 during the Holocaust, if I'm not mistaken. Between 8 and 10 or something like that. And if you're talking 2023, 2027, 2028 in MCU years, the man would have to be 98 years old, and it doesn't make him a viable villain. And it stretches really far to say that his mutation kept him that young or alive. It stretches it somewhat. That's why, again, the layers of you can take Magneto is based upon, I understand, yes, Eric Lensher is based on a man whose family was murdered during the Holocaust. I absolutely understand and acknowledge that. But one of the principles that come out of that is Eric saw the worst in humanity. Because of that, there are numerous tragedies that you can play to modern age, per se, and still make the worst a tragedy. Because, again, the age and the look and the feel of the character will work on screen. Remember, Steve Rogers was frozen in ice. Bucky Barnes kept being put on ice to preserve their youth. Even though Steve Rogers, again, wasn't immortal, he aged. And again, after we saw at the end of Avengers Endgame, he didn't go on the ice. He took himself back, changed his future, and he didn't go on the ice. And so he aged and died. Now, that's why I still stand by the Rwandan genocide. If you have not researched that, that is a powerful moment in history. And again, Giancarlo Esposito, perfect for that. Perfect for it. But like I said, it is something we have to see. It is something that will have to come along again. But this question in itself that you brought up is about depth of character. And I bring those two as far as Doom and Magneto. Depth of character. Because most of the villains within DC we've seen, they've given them a level of depth. The Joker, when we looked at the Nolan trilogy, his anarchy had a level of depth to it. I don't want to bring up Joker itself because I still don't helm that as a DC movie. I feel like you could have called that anything else and it would have been the same. But still, it's a personal thing. So hopefully that answered that question for you. Again, sorry I'm getting back to your question so late. I saw you sent this in November. I apologize for so late to getting these questions, but I want to make sure I answer these. Jiabi Lu says, Dear Jay, I wonder who they cast for Yara, aka Wonder Woman. I think they'll probably go with an unknown because I honestly cannot think of a young Brazilian actress that can act even for CW standards. Now, if they don't go with an unknown and go with just say a Hispanic African American actress, my top choices are Isabella Monera, Fiza Reza, Sierra Ramirez, former Deadly Class actress Maria Gabriela de Faria, Netflix's Money Heist star Ursula Corbero, Logan Browning, Samantha Logan, Victoria Justice, Becky G, or Harrison Guardiola. All the women you showed here in the pictures and you named, I can see them using. But again, it depends on how high profile. They can go with an unknown. This is true. What the CW will do, they will establish stars. Also, they are known for pulling from out of their universe. If you were on Legends, the 100, or the Tomorrow People, or some shit like that, and they think you can fit this role, there's a possibility. So I don't know exactly how they'll do it. Again, this is one of those castings where it's just like, hey, we gotta wait and see. Unfortunately, we just gotta wait and see. Hopefully I got to everybody's. Again, whoever left me the voicemail, you need to make sure it's clear. I say this every week. If I cannot hear it, if I cannot understand it, I will not play it at all. I will not try to play it. I'll listen through your message once or twice. If I cannot get through it, I'm sorry. I apologize. I just cannot put that out there for people to hear and not hear it, basically. So I think that wraps up everything I have today for this episode of the Mad Titan Podcast. I am back, ladies and gentlemen. It felt good doing this even though I was by myself. I tweeted I was about to do this for like 100. I was going to do like an hour and a half of talking about myself, about Marvel and DC villains, because I couldn't get anybody to be on, so I did it myself. And damn it, we did it. Thank y'all, everybody who's been asking about me, asking about when the podcast is coming out, where has it been, what's going on. And for those who have followed me on Blurs and seen and understood everything I've been going through and dealing with and trying to fight through and, just trying to stay sane. Look, this pandemic takes a lot on everybody. I know people who have homes, people who are trying to pay rent, people who have kids. I'm one of those people. So this shit really takes a lot. It really takes a lot, and I'll be honest. But I thank you all for being here with me. I thank you all for riding with me and rocking with me. You guys are amazing. Always, if you have not done so yet, please come and follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Mr. J Washington, MRJAY. You should know how to spell Washington, all right? If you want to join my Super Villain Squad and support on Patreon, patreon.com/Mr. J Washington. I'm going to start back re-recording stuff for them too. The exclusive Patreon stuff. Again, people on Patreon who are also in my Discord. Once you join my Patreon, you automatically have access to the Discord, and the conversations in the Discord are so amazing, and I'm grateful for them. And again, they understand that, I've been trying to mentally pull myself out of a funk. It's a little bit difficult, when you're not working like you used to. And, even when I stopped with the acting or hosting, I still have my regular bouncing gig, and that ain't shaking. So a whole lot. But I do want to thank all the members, my producers of the Mad Titan Podcast, who support me on the Patreon, on the Super Villain Squad. Your love and support and appreciation this year has been so much, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart. And thank you to my newest member, Deflated Brady. I appreciate you so much. To my existing members, Adam Collins, Alberto Rios, thank you for being a member of my 101 tier. Adelian Chamberlain, Elias, Ashley King, AZ Badfish, thank you for being at the 101 tier. Brock Severson, Amis Rollers Down, Brian Larson, Chauncey Wilson, thank you, bro, for the 101. Cheryl Corman, Christopher Connolly, Dan Bimke, David Adams, Deontay Clemens, Edward Wilshire, Fanboy Cantina, Fillmore Pockets, Fred Castillo, Hillary Nellums, Jake Icavetta, James Robin, Jared Simpson, Jason Inman, Jeffrey Chadorn, Jim Mason, Jim Payne, thank you for being at that 101 level. Jolene, thank you as well. Justin Square, Kenneth Daisy, Kirsty Oliveria, LK, Luis Torres, thank you, brother, for the 101 level. Marcus Kennedy, Marcus Burton, Mike Moore, Mikey Lito, Paisley, Darts, Patrick Harden, Quentin Milrow, Randy Constance, thank you for being at the 101 level. Rudy Wurueda and Samir Tisfai, thank you all for being members of the Supervillain Squad. It means the world to me, and I'm not just saying that to say it. Just be like, let me just tell y'all, it means the world to me. To people, no, it means a lot, seriously, and I'm grateful. I am utterly grateful for what you guys have done and who you guys are, to me, and what you guys mean to me. Thank you for that. Again, the news I've pretty much caught up on. Now I think we can get back to it. Please, if you can tweet me and everything, and just a little encourage to remind me that, y'all want this. Because again, it's parts of depression and everything with your careers, imposter syndrome, where you're like, don't nobody want to hear what I got to say. Don't nobody give a shit. And so when you all remind me that, you do care on my opinion on and perspective on it, sometimes the thoughts I have on stuff, it means a lot. Also, make sure you're checking out Blurs in the Hood. God, I'm call myself. Every Tuesday and Thursday, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. on the East Coast, youtube.com/blurdsinthehood and twitch.tv/blurdsinthehood. That's BLERDS, the letter NTHEHOOD, myself and Winston A. Marshall. When I tell you these shows have gotten more and more amazing each and every week, and this past week we had transgender supermodel and activist Arise Windsor on the show, and that shit was just legendary. Y'all need to check it out. She fit in on the show perfectly, so y'all got to check out the show. Check out that episode and more. Blurs in the Hood, BLERDS, the letter NTHEHOOD, if I didn't say that already. So That's about it, man. I will holler at y'all later. Till then, take care. I'm out. Be blessed. Be safe. Happy holiday season, whatever you are celebrating. For those who are celebrating Hanukkah, happy Hanukkah. Those who are about to celebrate Christmas, Merry Christmas. Everybody about to celebrate Kwanzaa. Kuji Chakalia to you too, and all those things. So holler at y'all later. Take care. I'm out. Bye.